All right. Did that say it says starting? All right. We're live. Here I am back for day 3 of the Cape May Seashore Lines. Cape May Seashore. Sorry, Cape May Seashore Lines. Early inaugural 2005 season open charter. Hey there, Brian Moore in chat. So like I've been telling, which I guess as Brian probably has missed, what this is in 2005, some people that I knew were they typically run a preseason charter on the Cape May Seashore Lines. The preseason charter it was sort of an unofficial shakedown for the CMSL service, and oh, there it is. And it involves just running back and forth, and but because it's a private charter, you get to engine tours and cab rides and duck and weed spraying vehicles. Today, I said Cape May Seashore Lines is normally known for its route between Tuckahoe and Richland, but up between 1999 and 2005, or when I think it opened in '96. I did some research. In '99, it was running from Cape May Courthouse to Cold Spring, and then '99 to 2005, it was running into Cape May City. Then the bridge broke down, and a storm affected it. It started, I think, running back into Cape May City in 2009, but 2012 is when the line got vandalized, and it's been restricted to Tuckahoe to Richland ever since. So that's the history. We've done 2 of the 3 parts. The first part, sort of the group meeting up at Cape May Courthouse. The second part involving hidden down the main line, and the third part is arriving at Cold Spring. So this is after the bridge had broken down. So the trip was truncated to Cold Spring, and then the trip stopped running at all. Not too long afterwards, due to vandalism and other issues. First other issues, and then the vandalism. So should have everything ready to go here. Let's just sort of get this stuff. We left off in the city of Rio Grande, where their storage yard used to be, much to the consternation of the local town, which really did not like. As I said, they saw the railroad as a bit of a nuisance, and did their best to get them out of there, which eventually they succeeded when operations moved to Tuckahoe. Tuckahoe being the former split between the Ocean City line and the Ocean City branch and the Cape May branch. So here are again crossing the Route 47, which is sort of a major route down to the shore. If you ever drive down to the shore, like Cape May, you'll take Route 55 most of the way past Vineland, which is a limited access highway. That dumps you into Route 47. Used to be called Del C Drive, or still is, which is Del C, as it goes from the Delaware River to the sea. And this is where 47 plugs into US 9, which runs all the way down to Cape May Point. So this is a pretty, in absence of the lazy folk who just take AC Expressway to the Parkway, those looking to save a buck usually come down this way. So this is a pretty major crossing. And here we see, due to rusty rails, trains didn't run in the winter. We had to flag this and a number of other crossings. Second, there we go. Gotta get the old hard drive warmed up here. Anybody else? Yep. There we go. The URHS, which these are URHS cars. Note the HEP connector there. These was, I think, was a North Jersey NRHS group that actually rehabilitated the F7s that were currently powering our little charter. I don't know why all their stuff ended up in South Jersey. I assume that they lost whatever space they had in North Jersey. I don't know what that space was. Maybe something near Boonton and the Whippany Railway Museum. I don't know. It was all this stuff was hovering around South Jersey, and it has since departed. So again, I'm also not. These are late model Pullman coaches, but I don't know their heritage. You can tell they are very similar to the NC Dot trains used on their Amtrak state service down there, the Piedmonts. Here we have the RDCs. I think I misspoke and said that Cape May Seashore had 9 of the 12. I read elsewhere that they only have 8 of the 12. Not entirely sure what's accurate, but these all, when the shore service ended in 2003, the RDCs, which were owned by NJ Dot, they were transferred up north to run on a variety of North Jersey services. They might have gone to, they might have been involved in Port Jervis. They might have been involved in various Bayonne shuttles or Newark shuttle. I don't think they were on the Bayonne shuttle because they might have been on like the Elizabeth to like Elizabethport, something from some former CNJ stuff, or maybe going down to Long Branch. I don't know their exact history, but they ran for a few more years before they pretty much got life expired. One thing I like to remind people that it's easy for us now looking back to wonder. You see these RDCs here, the Metro North ones, any of the RDCs. It's easier to think like, man, why were those retired so early? Why didn't they just keep running those? And you forget that those were built between like 49 and 53. So by 1983, those were 30 years old. That's on the verge of, if you haven't been rebuilt, you're going to need one, and especially for a diesel. And that is, at the time of absolutely plummeting ridership and cut services and other stuff, that's what happened to the RDCs. They were just they weren't, we just bought them and now it's time to throw them away, because we bought them 30 years ago. That's the equivalent of Amtrak's P42s, which are on their way out, aren't 30 years old. They're only 20 years old. So diesels generally need a rebuild after 20 years. This is the south end of the Rio Grande siding. The rails are quite rusty. But you have to remember that CMSL, I think they might have done a Santa thing, but they did not run between at least December and May. So we are pretty much the first train that had been down this track in 6 months. So the weed sprayer just went through, but that's also why all the we had issues with crossings and why everything's run. That's why this, as I said, it's a shakedown to see what's needing fixing. Let me get to. So, there's the Rio Grande Yard. There's the crossing. That would be Church Road. So I'm just pulling for anyone who's new here, I'm pulling the names off the photos when I first processed these in 2005. Again, I was saving them at a resolution of, this one was sort of ad hoc, 777 by 623. I say it again, I say it a lot, but back then the 56K crowd would get angry at you when you put up something that was bigger. Also, the general native resolution of these photos is around the 600K range. I'm saving them only slightly smaller, even though I'm I'm giving them a few enhancements. So even though I could just say the native resolution, but that would then actually make the size bigger than what they were shot at, which is kind of defeats the point. Got to give some technical information besides just train stories. Don't know what this is, or what I was trying to take a picture of. Maybe I thought that was a station, but yeah, the tracks were surprisingly intact for having, I mean, I guess the CMSL had been in service for almost a decade at this point, between 1996 and 2005. So they had been. So I'm still just amazed of how well the tracks are holding up. A lot of people forget that track maintenance is a function of usage. It's easy just to think that tracks will, their wooden ties are just going to deteriorate at a steady rate. Now, usage is really what can get you. So RDCs are designed. They're lightweight. They're designed to run on bad track. Specifically designed to run on bad track. In the 1940s and 50s, branch lines and secondary services were just, they're getting written off, and Bud made something that could specifically smoothen out unmaintained track. This rail was probably 100-pound. I don't think it's 115. No way this is 115. It's a 100-pound rail. But without the pounding of freight and basic maintenance, it survived with minimal anything for aviation museum. I guess, yeah, Cape May has a regional airport, and every regional airport's got to have its aviation museum. God. Sorry, I'm just laughing at small aviation museums. Where's this going to be? See, there's the airport. There's your aviation museum. What do they got there? They have every de Havilland caribou that exists. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's either the de Havilland Aviation Museum or it's whoever owns the type certificate is based there. Damn, son. So I was in a conversation about de Havilland caribou with an Alaskan bush pilot lately. He didn't see a lot of them flying. Anywho, what street's this? Curve in the track. There it is, right there. Oh, look at that. I've seen a couple of these. There have been a couple points where they have removed crossings. Wait, hold on. I want to make sure I'm at the right point here. Yeah. I was checking some other stuff out earlier, and this is the second thing I've seen of this. The crossings have actually been removed here between Route 9 and Seashore Road. There were a number of points where you could sort of cut between them, and I don't know why, because they're both a curve and a crossing. So I'm assuming that maybe they were worried that the cars were getting backed up over the crossing, but these crossings are barely used. Another thing could have been that people were trying to use Seashore Road to duck around traffic jams on Route 9, and the locals figured that making these sort of cross connections rarer would stop the traffic, because NIMBYs always, screw the tourists that support your jobs. Anywho, I don't know what that road would have been called. The funniest thing is, I previously, if you're on Google Street View, you can actually still see. It's not marked there, but you can still go there. I'll show it when I get there in a second. But let me just try to figure out a CRESSE lane. I'm just going to call it that. But yeah, this crossing has since been eliminated. So it's not just train stuff that vanishes. Sometimes you'll see road infrastructure vanishing too. Again, we're we're going to be flagging this crossing. I guess that the crossing equipment was all removed. Could pull in there and try to do a street view. But the old crossing equipment did have you can see the position light marker that they used, that the CMSL liked to use for its snitch lights. I'll zoom in a second. Let me just get the crop. I'm going to go a little farther out because this road has been removed, so I want to capture a little more detail. There we go. First off, I want to see, is that a milepost? Oh, it is. Can't quite read it. Probably 75. And there's your snitch light right there. Made out of a PL3 unit. Mileage would have probably been from, would have originally been from the Reading terminal in Camden, Canes Point, and probably was, probably just had a mileage truncation at when it branched off at Mill, so at CP at Brown Interlocking. Doing the flagging. Like I said, they were kind of rotating flagging responsibilities, and I could have had an opportunity to do it, but I just didn't. I didn't speak up. I was younger back then. I was just glad to be there. There's Route 9 right there. You can see that the two-lane nature of the road leads to traffic backups. At least in normal circumstances. Also, you can see why they had the weed sprayer out. Huh. I'm missing a picture. Oh, I know why I'm missing a picture. Or am I? Oh, crap. Yep. Where would that have gone? $46, $47. Oh, wait, what? That's strange. $45, $46, $47. Oh, heh. It's out of order. It's out of I screwed it up. See, I'm fixing errors here. Anyway, so I gotta subtract one from all these tour pictures. Screwed something up all those years ago. Here we have another private crossing. This one's already been closed. I wonder if that's a sign saying how the crossing's being closed. Nah, it's the sale sign. Let's see where this is. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to find it. Oh, who cares? Do, do, do. So I don't have much to say about a closed crossing. Tracks don't look great here, but again, they said it was good for 60 miles an hour. This is where just having sequential numbering helps, because I don't need to. If I was doing my current at my current standards, I would have to be figuring out mileposts. Oh wait, I have a milepost here. Looks like it's right there. Milepost 76. Okay, great. I can relabel this photo. Cool. Now here we have that crossing that I was mentioning earlier. This one has also been closed. You can probably see the reason of cars backing up onto the tracks as they wait to get off, pull out onto Route 9. We can also see the old distance to the CANAL movable bridge right there. I have a better picture of it later. And I also have some. This is the old seashore. It's labeled as Seashore Road. Seashore Road is the road next to it, but it's sort of like it's a road that has all it does is connect Seashore Road. Like that's the entire point of this crossing. And as I can show you, this crossing has also been. It used to be right here where 9 it comes back together, and you can see that it has been also removed. Is this the right one? Oh no, this is not the right one. Oh, wait, maybe that was the right one. I'm sorry. Oop. I think I was zoomed in on the wrong location. Maybe there weren't 2 that were removed. CMSL storage yard. Oh, here it is. Yep, this is the second one that was removed right there. And that's where the distance signal was. So like I said, the neat thing was, if you go into your Google, oh, see, that's the problem. I'm on two different maps here. If you go into your street view, you can still see, if I go over here. See, this is the modern thing. Oh, look, there's no road there. But Street View remembers, just like Petbridge Farm. I don't know what. So the road is gone in 2013, and this looks like a 2008 or so version of Street View. So it might have been before, in that period of time when the line was knocked out due to storm damage, and apparently reopened in 2009 and then closed again in 2012. So this is probably 2007 or 8. I think there's a lot of street viewing going around. They did the initial go-ahead in 2008, so I bet this is a 2008 photo. But I just remember how Street View has this like hidden road component right here. So it's not even listed on the like the little year slide. Oh, 2009. 2009 is when this photo was taken. So the crossing was there in 2009. Crossing not there in 2013. Probably when they restarted service. Sorry for the whole thing on road history. So here we have the, I'm just going to call it Seashore Road crossing. And that's the, if I go to my canal movable bridge diagram, that's the R75-1 signal. They must have redone the mileage at some point, because in theory we are in milepost 76. The R system was used. Like, I remember the distance to CP Brown, the searchlight distance, which I missed getting photos of by a week, was R48, 4.8. So this is R751. At milepost 75.1, which would have been, I think, to Kane's Point, and probably the 76. They might have remiled it to Federal Street or Broadway at some point in the 80s. Although renumbering is sort of a pain. All right, that took a chunk of time there. Let's see who has joined us in the chat. Oops, there we go. Oh, still only 2 people. No, I'm not. I'll look. What is that one? Off the Wikipedia, what that is. Well, surprised we don't have that many people. Did I set this to private again or something? I guess people are just busy tonight. Yeah, not a weekend. Huh. Well, might as well keep going. All right, so here we have the R751 signal. This is still there. You can see it in the Google Street Views. It's an old H5 searchlight. As this is just something with the signal, I'm going to label as a PRSL photo. It's great that so many of these historic artifacts have survived. Part of that is due to state ownership. Here we have our flagger flagging that seashore crossing. Okie. All right, here we are at the Cold Spring Village station. Got some people waiting. Oh, hey, look, milepost 77 and everything. Got some signs there. CMSL, take the train to Cape May. Again, bridge is now broken. No trains to Cape May. Now, again, and like I said in previous days, that was one of the whole goal of this as a regional transportation project was to alleviate traffic congestion into Cape May. At this point, we always just assumed that the bridge disruption would be temporary. I think I got to figure out if they made it back into Cape May. I don't know if they did or not. Did I make this part of the tour or not? Yeah. So here we have, let me just see if I made this part of the tour or not. All right. What is that BD tower? So that tower is a reproduction. It's like the one they built at Richland. They kind of slapped, it's a probably about the same quality of construction that you get at, that you actually got in the 1890s. The telegraph poles are original. The position light is not period I can say period correct. It's this would have been Reading signaled. They got that from somewhere and they put it up again as a part of a tourist attraction. The signal indication doesn't really matter. It's not an active. It's both active and not active. I'll have more pictures on that. But anyway, the tower is a reproduction of one that was on the site, probably for a crossing with the PRR. You have to remember that this was the sort of the Brighton Beach, the Philadelphia area, and by Brighton Beach I mean Brighton Beach or Brighton, England, or back in the 1890s, the late Victorian era. Big cities needed vacation destinations. You didn't have airlines, so what did they do? You would go to the nearest shore, and the South Jersey area was, everybody from Philly would go there. That's why I had two railroads, largely passenger serving, with a ton of infrastructure, because the roads stank in the 1890s. It would take you probably most of a day to just get the 50 miles, or you could catch a train and get you there in an hour. It was the Ryanair to the Spanish islands of its day. So, in New York City, you had, of course, Brighton Beach right there. Philly, the Philly region had this. And it was only after the expressway got built and after airlines let you go to Florida that this just declined rapidly. But in the Victorian through the 1930s, you had a ton of rail infrastructure down here. It was almost like it was thick as rapid transit to just get people to these shore resorts. Got you out of the city when the summer, for people who are concerned about the coronavirus today, back in the 18th century, plagues would sweep through the city every summer, and this got the people with just a bit of money away from the yellow fever. All right, and here we have a closer picture of the. So this is all there. The station is still there. Nothing's imperiling it. It's just the train service hasn't run there in getting close to a decade. Huh. There we go. A little bit of backlit, that sort of zapping things. I think I got this I might have got this on railpictures.net back when their standards were lower. Here we have M407 at Cold Spring. So in the preseason. Head-on view of it, of course. Again, I'm going to mention those giant bright reflector, those high visibility panels were a what do you call it? Were a duplicate of those applied to the PRSL RDCs after a tractor-trailer accident in Rio Grande that resulted, if not the permanent loss, one of the RDCs burned up in an accident. Another one got repaired. One of these, the Cape May Seashore Lines, was in an accident, and they got it. They had to do some little sheet metal work to fix it. Creamed the car, did some damage to the RDC, but not enough to really put it down. Here we have our 770 milepost 771 signal. This could be seen as a distant to the CANAL movable bridge, but it's not. The CANAL movable bridge has distance. It has an approach restricting signal. So this is purely for entertainment purposes. So it's probably like, if I had to, rate signal from in the wild to captive, it is something. It's sort of like in a big zoo park. So I'm not going to put that as a PRSL signal because it is not a PRSL signal. I mean, it might have been at some point, probably from someone's collection, but it is not authentic. Just a group photo, or I don't think this is a real group photo, but it was a group photo that I snagged with M407 in the background. PRSL letter. They did a great job restoring those. Eek. Got to get some something going on there. Just a couple of the leaders. Now, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out. I have no photos of the return trip. I didn't think I took the return trip, and I was just trying to figure out, how did I get back? And I'm pretty sure I just after my dad took the tour, I think because these guys were going to do things. I think they had a bus or something to go to Cape May and then get food at one of the places there, and there was going to be an overnight. I think they had camping something lined up, and I didn't feel like that. I was there for the train stuff. It was a little late in the day, and I mainly didn't want to. I forget what this wasn't completely free. It wasn't like nothing. It was like you had to pay for the diesel fuel between all the people. We had to basically just pay for the tank of gas, and I can't remember. But if you went to Cape May, you had to chip in for the bus. They hired a coach, some sort of local transport to take you in there. And I didn't really want to spend the rest of the day, going to an expensive restaurant in Cape May. Where might I add, it is local tradition to not have free refills with your drink. FYI, if anyone ever travels to Cape May. So I think that I think I just directed my dad to drive down to the Cold Spring station And from there, we set off on our own because I wanted to go visit the Canal movable bridge. I think I'd hiked out there. So technically this has and still counts as an active interlocking tower. The bridge tender cabin has, which you'll see, has local control of derails and signals. And even though it is a active tower that is temporarily out of service. So let's see what I can find here. Looks like I was naming things poorly, so you access the bridge from the Cape May side. This would be a northeast WD angle. And it's open. So we'll get to the life and times of the Canal movable bridge in just a second here. So I've gotten off the train, and now we just have a few photos of the Canal movable bridge and its associated stuff, and then it looks like some pictures I took at North Philly. Oh, oops. Oop. Forgot to... Little mistake there. Yep. Here we go. Here are the correct bunch of photos. All right, here we go. I'm pretty sure that the fence came with it. They didn't put up, but I at the same point I could have sworn I have a picture of the operator's console in there, but maybe not. Maybe I just thought I did. Where I have one of a similar bridge, or maybe it was someone else's photo. But note, it has PRSL, Ivory and Ivy signage. It's got emergency generator. It's got everything. So this is on the list of active towers to this day. Might be one of those towers that this is one of those things that are so forgotten that it could live on past a whole bunch of others. Here we see the northbound signal and the derail, sort of very far away there. Well, this is the northbound, but this is a southbound view, facing southbound. Oh, I didn't check who was in the chat there. I'll do that in just a second. Oh, we got some more people now. I'll check that YouTube video out. Yeah, I mean, normally you expect that sort of fencing and barbed wire in places where there's like, a city or an inner city or type of something. I just bet because there's so little traffic and so much that whole area had to be was basically unmanned for so much of the year that they didn't want to have any sort of the local kids just coming by. There's just not enough people going by it. So they had to put the crazy fencing and things around it. Not because this is a high crime area. It's just kids are kids. They'll get into whatever. So you gotta, to avoid having, again, remember what I kept telling you about vandalism? They had vandalism problems in Rio Grande. They had vandalism problems with people stealing the track components, which ultimately shut down this part of the line. Now again, like so yeah, there was not without precedent. There was a lot of vandalism in the area. This is a off season. It's a very rural and kind of poor zone. You got the guardrails, and this, I forgot how much the state paid to get this whole thing rehabilitated. But after that, it only ran for about, I said, like the whole thing broke down after about 5 years, and who knows what the status is right now. Tony's an optimistic guy. If anyone can get back there, it'll be him. Here we have another picture of the canal cabin. I think I wanted to try to get a picture of the stuff. Here we have your center span. Or your center pivot. A whole major issue with the bridge, as you can see him right there, unresized, was simply the replacement of the cable. So, unlike a lot of swing bridges, this is over the intercoastal waterway. It's infeasible to have power getting to it except by an underwater cable, and that was the majority of the issue. Was for the initial rehab was getting that underwater cable replaced to power the stuff. So you can see the lights even on, so it is powered. Today, who knows what the status of all that is or why it broke down. Yeah, there's I forget which bridge that is, but it's a west, or it's technically an intercoastal waterway southbound. I can go see what that bridge is there. So if you didn't know, zooming out a bit, the Cold Spring Village is there on Route 9. It's on Route 9. Route 9 jogs to the east there to join in where at the tail end of the parkway. But if you sort of do a shimmy, the West Cape May Bridge is right next to the thing, and you can see the way you get to the tower is down that road, turn up this dirt road, park sort of there, and you're right there. So the bridge is still there. State Route 162 over that bridge, but I guess the name is West Cape May Bridge. Try to speed things up here. One interesting thing on movable bridges, well, two things. When they're in their closed positions, there are wedges at either end. You can sort of see them here, operated mechanically. These wedges put the weight on the end bearings, because when you have a train, the center pivot, the bridge is resting on rollers. If a train was so when the bridge is closed, they don't want as much little weight on the center rollers as possible, because that'll deform them and then it can't turn anymore. So part of the closure process is it closes, this crank pushes those wedges. You can see them right there underneath the bridge support, which forces the bridge, puts all the weight on the ends of the plate truss. Another thing that the mechanics do is pull down the rails. That's how that they are able to. They don't just. There's not just a gap. They lock in. There's like a dovetail. But to get that dovetail to work, the rails have to elevate. So that center locking. There's a mechanical structure there that handles all of that. And I got another picture of the other side. This one you can see there's the wedge lock. You can see the wedges right there, and the crank. And this is the mechanism that will pull down the rails. Rails get pulled down. There's an interlock there, mainly just a little electric switch. Rails then indicate contact. That indicate the bridge is locked to the interlocking, and then you can set the derails to normal or to reverse or not derailing, and display the signal. And just here we have the end of tracks bit. Again, just a quick shot of the canal tower. Looking south. I got to get back out here someday. So I took a little hike to get pictures of the switches. These are GRS 5Es. You can tell because there's no little. It's a short thing. There's no hump. That means there's not an integrated motor controller. Some other part of the interlocking handles it. This basically. So this. I don't for certain know what the number of this is, but I'm pretty positive that. You're right. I don't know. I would say it would be the signals would be this would be one, and the other one these would both be one's lever one's derails. But if NJT was using its naming convention, it would be like 01, and the signals would be 1E and 1N and 1S. Or I think I'll probably go with NJT. NJT uses the same system that Amtrak does with tracks and directions. So and yes, I was able to do the previous time I had done this trip was in like 2001, and I was able to get, but I said that's a film camera thing. So if I ever get my film negatives sent off to a special, like a scanning place, I'll be able to do this sort of thing with those. Got your this probably was installed before right before GRS was taken over by Alstom. I think it was Alstom. Okay. Oh, down to our last set here. And this is a short set too. So I'll get y'all out on time from class today. And this is actually I think there's the last pictures of North Philadelphia Tower before it was closed. And I was not there for that purpose. My Amtrak train broke down, and we had to get a rescue. Do I want to get a 1x1? Yeah, I might go for this square aspect ratio. I do have a picture. I'm not sure if it was here at a different signal, or if it was on the north or the north end of it. But I did have pictures of these signals before on my film camera, at least one of these. Oops, don't want to sharpen that twice. Call this a 1N. I got to really get back there, and I don't even know if those things are lit. I'll tell you that right now. Although I can figure it out. So all this displays is stop and restricting. They did a little bit of a cheapo. We don't want to pay for the extra 3 feet of mast, so we're just going to plop a marker on top. It's all DCS territory. I've seen some drawbridges that'll give you a clear into non-signal territory, but it's like not a real clear. But they just went with restricting here. So one little trick that we can do is the distance signal for that is right next to the crossing right there. So we can roll in with our right off of Route 9, and the distant is simply a fixed approach restricting, yellow light with the A plate, and it was always lit. But we can go and see if it's still lit. Where am I looking? There it is. Oh dear. Can't see it. But there's the distant for the canal movable bridge. Oh, right there. So I'd have to go and check out. But just note this is all accessible. The bike path that we saw here going all the way along, that was the old Pennsylvania Railroad right-of-way. So up until the 1934 PRS merger, both the PR and Reading had lines to the shore and directly competed. I mean, there's not often that you get to see direct competition in rail, but this is the PR and Reading were one of those few areas where you would where they sort of had a lot of cutthroat stuff going on. I don't know why I'm checking my eBay auctions. Okay. I got to go and figure out what these pictures are. Well, I know these are North Philly. I just got to figure out. Here they are. Here we go. Yep. Victims of the same. Well, so like I said, I was on an Amtrak train. There was. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to get out if we were rescuing the train. It was almost certainly that that something happened, but I don't know how we got to North Philadelphia to pull over. That's the strange part. Like maybe we were rescuing, and we had I had a minute or two to get off the train. That could have been it. So here, so for those North Philadelphia was partly reconfigured in the late 90s or the early 2000s. So they ripped out the east half, renamed it Clearfield. Then in 2005, the remainder of it was reconfigured. There was a lot of excess infrastructure at North Philadelphia to support industry and long-distance trains that no longer stopped here. So they simplified the interlocking. They put up new signals. Good for full bidirection on all 4 tracks. Although it was all technically bidirectional, but it was the type of bidirectional where you'd go and get a dwarf signal with a slow clear. So I knew the tower was going to close. I didn't know the time, but I wound up here, and this is right before it ended up closing shortly thereafter. I think I would have correctly marked these. There we go. I did not correctly mark these, so I'm going to have to go and pull up my North Philadelphia interlocking diagram. And those would have been the new signals, probably 36R and 40R. Or no, because again, these used to be dwarfs, so that was going to be, and yeah, that's going to be 36R and 6R. This is probably taken from the back of the train. So maybe we were rescuing the stranded passengers from the ill-fated train before us. Because I took this from out the back of the train. So that would have indicated that I was sort of hesitant of getting left behind. So 6R plus 36R. Just in case I had one of the old dwarf ones. I don't think it was. I don't know what this would have been remapped to in the waning days of the tower. I did have my Amtrak friend did work there in those days. Here we have the two. Normally, back when the tower was in its original configuration, it only had these two high signals for westbound trains. Everything else was a dwarf, as you can see here. That would be the 28R and the 30R. One second. 28R and the 30R. North Philadelphia. There we go. Here we have a great picture of the tower. Again, like I'm pretty sure it was almost positive. So there's a possibility the tower might have just closed, but I'm pretty sure I remembering that it was still open, and that's why it was like, oh hey, I got pictures of it before it closed. So we have this nice sort of twilight, golden hour, definitely a golden hour going on here. Don't want it to be too red. Let's see if I can find this picture in the archives. There, is that it? Looks like it. Yeah, that's it. Ooh. Not sure where that one would have been. Here we go. Probably leave this as a silhouette shot to some degree. Can I get that 1-to-1 aspect ratio? Nah. Do a little bit of a twist there. Oops. I never remember how to spell silhouette. That's the problem. Okay, one sec. I just need to adjust the name. How are we all doing in the chat? People still there? Oh, anyway, we're almost done. Thank you for everybody for showing in here. Again, another great photo of North Philadelphia Tower in its final. I don't think the operator is looking out there. Had I had a cell phone, I could have tried calling my friend. I don't think my friend was up there at that time. He was working it around then, but I don't think he was actually there. I thought he might be, but he turns out that he said he was not. I'm just so glad to get way better versions of these photos than I had back in the day. Like, that's, ugh. I was doing something over processing. Then this guy showed up. See, there's my train. I feel like we're waiting to get rescued, but usually you get stuck in the middle of nowhere, not at a major station. And it was right out of Philly too, 9385. So that is going to be the 6R. It's still the 6R until the tower is closed. Was it 9385? Man, that would have still been new back then. That C44, that C44-9W. Almost done. And I got, of course, got a better picture of this old guy. Or what I said would have been new back then. These were probably delivered. Oh, 93. Yeah, probably about 5 years old by this point. I'm not going to try to make this a North Philadelphia Tower photo. Would have been fun if it was something more interesting than a -9, but that's what it is. And of course, we had an Atlantic City Line train meet, like triple meet here. So a dead Amtrak, a freight train, and an AC line train, all crowding for space here at North. It's just like the old days when North Philadelphia used to be important and busy. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's see if I can extend it till I get to the aspect ratio I want right there. Cut it. And that's 4150. I think those are retired. The 4200 series are still around, but I'm not sure about that 4150. I'll have to check. Hold on. NJT 4150. All right, I'm just going to do a quick check real fast before I get back to the chat of the NJT roster. See, I bet those are retired. 4150. PH2A acquired. 4145 was sold to Mark. Everything else is in storage. Okay. Oh, and those were a 1993 acquisition, and they were retired in 2014. Okay, well, that's what I got. Let's see who's still around. Hey, thanks for... Sorry, you just hit the end of this. By the way, like I said, so anyone who missed the streams this week, I'm going to be doing a major video drop this coming up in the next 2 or 3 days. So check the channel. Next stream will probably be in 2 weeks, 2 or 2 and change. It's going to be either not this weekend, either the following weekend or the week before the weekend after that weekend. So that's going to be something like, not the 4th, so it's either going to be sometime around the 11th. Wait, hold on. What the heck? Where are we? We're in March. We're in the 23rd now, so either around the 4th or the 11th. The week between the 4th and the 11th, there'll be something in there. I had a train trip scheduled for the 18th. That's probably going to get canceled, but I don't know. I might come back up. We'll see. I'm going to be safe. Things. So I'm going to be dropping all these streams. I'm going to dump up. I'm going to make descriptions for and get these up. I'm going to have some videos, some local videos, and I'm going to have a special video coming up that I've been sitting on. of an early 2000s cab ride on the MBTA Plymouth branch. That's Old Colony. I sort of hold those things out because they're a third party. So I sort it's sort of, but I'm putting that, like, I got the go ahead to put that one up. Okay, so anyway, yeah, look for the video drop. Like I said, I'm not like the normal YouTube. I'm using the old, outdated method of non-algorithmic based YouTube uploading, where I tend to batch them, because usually I have 10 crap videos and one good video. So I just put up the I put up the good stuff which people want to see, and I'll say that they're crap for everyone that doesn't need them. There's someone out there that you put up that video and it's the thing that they need to see. So even though 50 people might care about it, I put it up there. Yeah. I said I hold back until I have good stuff. Usually cab rides or rear views or something that's halfway decent. And usually I have enough of that, but this time I'm going to be using that historic video as the draw, and then I'll drop in a bunch of just random miscellany behind it. I would have had a lot of good footage from that fan trip on the Reading Blue Mountain in Northern. Coach seat, open windows, would have had the GoPro going, would have had out the window shots, would have been great. It's still going to happen. It's gonna just get postponed. I have a ticket. I'm going to ride it. So anyway, you guys all have fun. I'm going to bail out. This has gone way longer than I thought it would. All right, stay safe.